Hello guys and welcome to today's video. If you're new here, my name is Steph. I'm a mum from New Zealand. I got a 3.5-year-old boy and then a 10-month-old daughter. And today I wanted to share our homeschooling routine and what we do to homeschool my 3.5-year-old. In New Zealand, he would be going to kindergarten if we did put him in kindergarten, but he is home with me full time and I feel super blessed to do that. And we are planning to homeschool him for the first few years of his schooling life. So we are teaching him the basics before going into school essentially, but he is going to be staying with us for a few years. Now before we get into this video, I do want to mention that he is my very first child and this is very new to me, but I am doing a lot of trial and error, and homeschooling has been something that I have actually really enjoyed. And honestly, if you asked pre-kids Steph, I never ever would have imagined myself to be a homeschooling mum, but it has brought so much joy into my life. So I wanted to share this video just to kind of give you guys an idea of what works for us, because if you're completely new to homeschooling, you have no idea where to start, then this is the video for you. So the things that I do want to share with you guys today is firstly our homeschool area. As you guys can see, this is behind me, this is where we homeschool, and I really want to show you guys how I've set this up. I think this is so important, especially if you have a very small house. We have a 3-bedroom home and all bedrooms have obviously been taken. So this is a piece of wall. This is just one side of the wall in our living room, and this is where we homeschool. So I'll give you guys a little bit of a tour of that first up, and then I do want to talk about our curriculum, or what kind of things we do and how we homeschool, and then lastly just give you guys some of my tips and my overall thoughts about homeschooling. Okay, so before we do dive into my little tour of my homeschool area, let me give you guys a little bit of an idea of where we are. So right now to my left, I have the dining room. The dining table, should I say, because it's not a separate room. It's not a dining room. I have the dining table, and then to my right is the kitchen. Behind the camera, behind you guys, is the couch. So essentially, if you were in somebody else's living room, this is where the TV would be, but we don't have a TV, so this is the homeschooling area. And this is so important, and I really wanted to share this with you guys because having a small house has been the reason why I have delayed homeschooling for so long. In my head, I kind of had this thought or vision that if I was to homeschool, I needed a separate room and I needed an area for the kids and I to go to. And once I got that idea out of my head and realized, you know what, you actually don't. You want that. I definitely would love to have that, but I don't need it. And so I decided to strip this area and made this area the homeschooling area, and it has worked so well for us. And I am so glad that I kind of just did it. Alright, so this is our homeschooling area. Let me give you guys a tour and just how I've laid everything out. So firstly, we do have our homeschooling table. This is such an awesome table, and I will try and leave everything linked down below, but the reason why I like this table is because there is storage underneath, and if you do have a very small area, having that extra storage is so awesome, as well as the chairs. They do have storage here. So in here are all preschool activities, and there are more activities as well as a lot of his artwork is all inside this table. On top of his table, I do have the alphabet, which he does know, but it is really nice to have it up here. And this is so awesome. I thrifted this alphabet chart, and inside is little Velcro things that kind of stick. I think this is so neat. Whoever made this is so talented, and I am so glad that I found this at a thrift store. I think it looks so nice. Now on top of his table, we do have a huge box of colorings. We do love to do colorings. We're a super artsy, crafty family, so this is so awesome. So over here is a box of activities, and these are all activities catered to what my son is currently learning, and these are all things that I've made myself. For example, he learns to write the numbers on rice. There's more activities to teach him the alphabet in small letters because he only knows it in capital letters. This is like matching cards. There's teaching him different directions, a little puzzle, fish, and so on. So on top of his table, I do like to have activities. My aim is to change them every 2 weeks, but I'm probably changing the activities every 3 weeks, and I do rotate them. So I have a bunch that I've made myself and then a bunch that I've bought as well. And the aim is that he can kind of come here and grab these and do them whenever he wants. It can kind of be like an activity that he does when I'm cooking or just when I'm busy. He will come and grab one of these activities, which is really nice. And then over here next to the table, we do have this little area, which is usually usually for all of his homeschool stuff. So like you can usually find pencils and rubbers and highlighters, rulers, but my daughter does like to get in here and she does like to mess it up. We do also have stickers available. Okay, next up is his art easel. This is one of my favorite things, as well as this little art corner, because like I mentioned, we're very crafty, arty family. So I love to have this available for him just to get super creative. As you can see, he loves to play around with stickers. So he's got paint under there, paint brushes, everything he needs for this easel. And then over here is our art department. So this is something that I made for Christmas, and it is definitely my favorite part of this whole area. Inside each of these little drawers is something that he can use whenever he wants, and it is just anything for him to get creative. He's got some scissors, he's got crayons, he's got glue sticks. The next one is filled with a whole bunch of things for crafts, so like pom-poms, literally anything that you can think of, shells, toilet paper rolls. I love to keep everything and use it for arts and crafts. Here we got sticks. These are little shimmery things that I have to keep up nice and close because of my daughter. String, more pom-poms, pieces of wood, material. I honestly keep everything that I find because everything has a purpose to it. Glittery glue, which he loves to use. So these are almost all done and I do need to buy some more. And here is more little crafty things that I've purchased. And these things, which does get super messy. My daughter loves to pull out all of these and then not put them back in. This is stickers. This is his favorite drawer at the moment. He's obsessed with stickers. And then just paper. And then the last one is like activities, like these water paper things and just a little bunch of activity books. So yeah, that is a really quick tour of our homeschooling area. Okay, so the next thing that I did want to talk about is our curriculum, or what we do to homeschool. And this is probably one of the most asked questions when I talk to my friends about how I homeschool my 3.5-year-old, or how he has learned the alphabet or he's learning to write, and they're like, how do you even know where to start? And I'm not gonna lie, I am really just going with the flow for a lot of things. He is 3.5, and I do think that when we start homeschooling and when he's 5 and he's essentially supposed to be starting school, that's when I'm probably gonna follow more of a structure. But at the moment, I'm just going with him and what he likes to learn and how he is learning, and obviously it's gonna be different for every child. So the first thing is curriculum. That's like one of the most things that people want to know. They want a curriculum to follow, and there are definitely lots of curriculums to follow on the internet. But one thing I will mention is that if you're from New Zealand, comment down below if you do homeschool and you're from New Zealand and you have a curriculum for a pre-K child, because I personally haven't found a curriculum for 3.5-year-olds from New Zealand. There are heaps from America and even Australia, but I haven't found any from New Zealand, and I don't necessarily follow one. I haven't done a ton of research either. I am not that type of person that does a lot of research. I just kind of go with it. And so I just do, like I said, what I think he wants to learn and then kind of just go from there. I also want to mention that a lot of our learning is through play. That is what Charlie loves to do. He loves to learn through play, and that's what works really well for him. So that is a lot of the things that we do. But I'll give you guys a little bit of an idea of how our day goes. So I did film a little bit of a snippet of this morning and how we homeschooled it this morning. So when we homeschool, it always happens in the morning for us. It is super important that if you are wanting to homeschool your child, that you figure out what their attention span is like and also when they work best. For my child and for Charlie, it works really well for him to homeschool in the morning. The afternoon is literally a write-off. It just does not work. And his attention span for learning, for example, if I want him to start writing the alphabet or learn how to write his name, the actual learning part, his attention span is like 5 minutes. Like I have 5 minutes to get that information into him, and then he's just done and just wants to learn through play. And that's why we do a lot of learning through play. But it does happen all in the morning, and it usually happens when my daughter has her first nap. I sit down with him. I have to spend all of my energy and attention on him when we do homeschool. He really likes to have that one-on-one time with mum. I think that's really important for him. And so we both just sit at his little table and we choose an activity or we choose a worksheet to do together. So I have this whole folder full of worksheets, and I'll leave a link down below of where you can purchase these. It's just full of things, and we have rotated a few of these. So the first ones are more like learning through play. So this is like a little puzzle of, you know, teaching them animals and where they live and the weather. And I've got a smoothie that has like recipe cards and all the fruit numbers. And then I have in the back also worksheets. So this is the type of worksheets that he can only spend about 5 minutes doing. Oh, I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me just fix. Okay, I'll put up a close-up because it's just not coming through this camera angle. But I have tracing worksheets. So he's learning to trace the alphabet. He's also learning to find lowercase as well as uppercase letters. And I've got this for every letter of the alphabet, and then he learns to write it himself. And so that's the type of stuff that we do usually first off when we start homeschooling. We'll just choose one worksheet for us. We do one worksheet together, we work on one letter of the alphabet, and then we'll go on and to do something that is more learning through play based, and every day is different. And also I should mention, we don't homeschool every day. I would love to, but that's just not possible. Sometimes my daughter naps as early as 7 a.m. and I'm just not ready to homeschool at 7, but we do try and do it as best as we can. But I think it's just so important to just like go with your child's learning needs and just like really follow what they want to do. They're so little, and I'm not trying to sit him down and teach him all this stuff. I just want him to get used to learning and enjoy learning, and he really enjoys it. And so with that, I kind of want to follow on to like little tips and tricks on what has worked for me and things that I want to recommend to you guys. The first thing is keeping this area just for arts and crafts or just for activities, learning based. And what I mean by that is he does not eat on this table. I know a lot of people have kids tables and they use it for everything, for play, for eating, for learning, for everything. And I just do not let him eat on this table. We have a dining table and he eats on the dining table, and this is his arts and crafts and homeschooling table. And I like to just keep the difference between the two, and to me that's really important, just so he kind of associates the fact that when he sits here he is learning or he's getting creative or he's doing something along homeschooling. And then the last tip that I have, which has worked really well for me because obviously you have to have the time to get everything prepared, is just having resources like this and then kind of just spending a whole day printing everything out, putting it all in here so that it's all done when I need it. Keeping this area clean for me is super important because it does mean that then the kids can find everything they're looking for. Otherwise they need my help to look for it, and it just creates more work at the end of the day. So keeping this area clean, and then also coming up for ideas. So I love Pinterest, and I use Pinterest so much to scroll through for ideas for what I put in here. So a lot of these things I come up with myself, but a lot of the times I will just find them on Pinterest and then recreate them with what I have. Doing this again at the same time that I do this, that just makes it so much better. Like I wouldn't have time to do it in the morning and then get him to do it, if you know what I mean. I have to spend time prior to homeschool to be able to do all of that, and I'm very lucky to obviously have my partner who can take the kids out and gives me time to do this. Otherwise I would probably just suggest trying to do maybe one activity before you go to bed instead of just trying to do it in the morning when your child's sitting there being like, Mom, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like that just seems way too hectic. So that is my little tips for you guys. And like I mentioned, I am so new to homeschooling, but I have found a few things that have worked really well for me, and that's why I wanted to create this video. Hopefully I haven't been talking for too long because I do see that little time on my camera and this might be a long video. So hopefully you guys have stayed to the end, and hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did like it, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and I'll see you all in my next video. Bye guys.